bracket. Who knocked them out? It was actually Dreams from yesterday who 3-0'd them in the winner's side, so they just got revenge on that team. So Snooze and the Punchy Fan Club have yet to play each other in this event. If Snooze wins 3-0, we are done. If the Punchy Fan Club wins this one, we are moving on to a bracket reset. We're going to be taking game 1 here at Mahi Resort.
Well, to be clear, Snooze could also win 3-2, and we would also be not.
Well, yeah, but, you know, I guess they could do that. Hey, there's no soda on the side of Snooze.
Whoa! We're going to talk about actually interesting things. I wonder if that was an error or if that was an actual decision. I feel like they didn't even opt for a lot more range or anything either.
They're just using the different pencil, yeah. Like they're actively deciding I would rather have rain versus the soda right here, which so be it.
Yeah. Go on the walls.
Yes.
Which, like, could actually be worthwhile, especially if you're trying to get your Neo and other solid positions, just like the sword. But even still, right, like, you met with the Crab Ticket on the other side, the CRB on the other side is going to provide a decent bit of chip damage and range away, and you see already doing just that as Rutella is able to come away with the first solid hold. Here comes another Crab Tank in just a moment. You have to imagine. Punch will go ahead and pop that. For the Snipe Rider on this side, but actually let's go down on that right side, and looks like the cap comes through for Snooze. How long that cap will be for, we'll have to wait and see, as Punchy comes up with 2, while 2 of their teammates go down, and now the last 2 find Punchy. And yeah, it looks like cap going right back, penalties on both sides.
Yeah, I didn't really get what the purpose behind that crab was. Was it just trying to like funnel people down to the right side? It didn't seem to accomplish much, but then you just realize, oh wait, I can just use the rest of this kit as well once this crab is done. Start getting some more splats. They lose control of zone, but still nice play altogether by the Splash to stay alive and make something out of nothing, as they say. But now, can there be a way for Snooze to get back to control of this zone? They're going to have to start throwing their strikes on top of it with a nice job of this player. I think this is P, yet again with the Gal, doing a good job of absorbing a lot of shots to make sure that those strikes land cleanly across the zone. However, Team Punchy caps it in.
So close to coming away with something, even just their own lives was P, but no. Taken down all the same, and you see Rutella cap the zones once again. They'll about to have a couple more specials, and I imagine that this CRB will wait for the opportune time to pop this Kraken the second that some of these members of Snooze actually drop in. But actually, no, just going to get taken down. 3-down situation just like that. And back on top is Snooze, but they cannot rest on their laurels here as the zone's been taken out from under them multiple times.
This is the first time they've actually had a legit control of zone, too. All the penalty points already gone because they didn't have much to work with there. But that Zipcaster getting erased before it could get anything going, and now you're going to get the pencil set up along this right side. Harshy, look out behind you. There's a blue pencil attacking you. The rest of their teammates coming in to help defend, but the zone does go back. So that might have been Snooze's best chance to get control of the lead. They did add a lot of points, but now they got a ton of penalties that they got to chew through. But regardless of that, 145 left on the clock, and I was about to say if this Gal can get going, because they've been playing great. He's got a race right there.
Immediately taken down, and I feel like the non-cooler has helped a lot here. Obviously, you see what they're going for, right? He's trying to set up in multiple places, but even still, not fully successful as of yet. Starting to claw this one back, though, and now might be able to hold on as the penalty has expired, and they might take a lead. In fact, they will. Here comes the Kraken from that blaster as the pencil goes down, and the rest of the members get pushed on back away, although Reiki and Zero both stepping to that left side, teaming up, and get at least 1 for the road, maybe 2, actually able to find 2. Reiki now popping the Zipcast, looking to try to just stay alive for a little while longer. Dives right back in, tries to get taken something, and will finally get taken down, but has bought enough time for the rest of their team to step on back in, and in fact, Snooze still has control of the zone. Time is quickly ticking down.
Yeah, a good distraction, if anything, from that zip cast. It looked like that player was about to go overboard as well, so the zip cast keeping them in the fight and absorbing shots away from things. It's now Snooze looking to close this one out. They don't have a lot of penalty points left, and as long as Harshy can stay up top here, providing the defense of everybody else, should find a way to at least, even if they lose control zone here because of the strikes, could find a way to get it right back in the course of the game. The Kraken being used here, trying to chase some players out, not going to be on the zone. And now, Punchy Fan Club just has to cap it before we go to overtime, which is what they are going to do. 2 players down from Snooze. One player left alive. How did you? Okay,
Oh, no.
That was a little janky there, but it ended up working out being a trade. If this splat could land onto the crab, that would be huge for them. Instead, they're going to take care of the blaster, but now they got to put some paint on the zone immediately, stalling just long enough for the strikes to come out, but the strikes are not enough, and the rain's a little bit late. Punchy Fan Club takes game 1.
So close was that game, all the way down to the wire. Just takes one solid push to get right back into it, as Snooze proved, but wasn't enough at the very end, and their opponents in Frutella will take this first game away from them. How about the creativity in terms of some of the plays that we saw where members were dropping back? You saw the zip cast staying alive, then diving back in. I think similar idea was probably tried there. And overall, right, like, a lot of members on both teams had creative ways moving around the map, trying to just cause the element of surprise to play a factor, and in fact were successful in a lot of cases. So we'll see. Of course, I think next one, probably a more familiar map this time.
Yeah, splat zones at Hagglefish. You might see that soda come back out here for this one, but to the credit for the players knowing they don't have soda, it does adjust your playstyle, knowing like, okay, well, I have to actually get the most maximum value out of this current life that I have, which we all should do. That is a good lesson for like living through being a human in general. But you saw that constantly, like not getting splatted so quickly, or just going to the edge and using specials and staying alive as long as possible. To at least, even if I don't get a splat, I'm at least drawing attention for the rest of my teammates to capitalize on something. So, almost getting the win without soda. But now going to Hagglefish, splat zones. It's about controlling the alleyways, making sure you keep the fight in front of you and you don't have to split your attention across the ways, finding ways to get your pencil player pushed up to mid so they're not just stuck guarding all the areas on the canopy so they can activate with the rest of your teammates. Punchy trying to force the bracket resets. 1 game down, 2 more to go.
They're well on their way, and we'll see whether or not they can pick up another one in just a moment as we get underway on a Hagglefish market. One thing, of course, we've seen E-leaders pop up here or there, and rather open, straightforward map where E-leader range can actually play a significant role, but doesn't feel like we'll see him. No, indeed. The traditional pencils on either side will be the options selected as we get underway here, and relatively, comps we'd probably expect, although Punchy's sticking with this vanilla splash, still in the crab tank, of course. Special weapon we've seen played many a time, and especially on this map where we talk about these more open environments where that range can play a role. Having that crab tank almost acts like your second anchor, especially in a world where your first anchor is only a sniper.
And you don't have any Zukas to deal with either. When you know those things are out of the way, it's like, okay, we can kind of get back to when this game first started, and I can just kind of dominate with it. I question that first tank that they used because they probably should have known that strikes were going to be coming out very quickly anyways, just because of the comps that they're going up against. But yeah, now that things kind of settled, you can probably see that crab start to push up and start to activate with the rest of their teammates. Knowing they don't have the, other than the ink strikes, they don't have the Zuka to worry about.
Now charging forward is Frutella again. They are making their presence known here quite a bit, especially with this Slosher going all the way forward. Has the strikes as well, will jump away and utilize these strikes to push the oncoming threat from Snooze around. An actually 2-down situation. It looks like some of them got trapped out in those strikes, and that'll procrastinate this push from Snooze as they are continuing to hold back and can't find a way forward. Another cooler comes out here of Frutella, and again, they're feeling pretty strong here, and still those specials, finally a zip cast, but it just got taken down. Very few specials come online for Snooze, and this could be another game going over to Frutella pretty quick.
F1's going to be locating that splash, which they do, so eliminating them. They did throw out the ink strikes, but I don't think they got all of them out, or at least in the areas they wanted them specifically to be. Do they have enough players left alive just to pencil in the slosh to keep zone? They do not, but still, Snooze is very lucky to still be in this one. Puncher Fan Club with a great lockout that they forced right there. On the flip side, though, Snooze, more than half the time still to work with, all the penalty points gone. You got your pencil player activated, starting to push up. You just got to avoid this crab right here, and you might have a good situation to start chipping away at this lead.
Popgun, I will say, while you might not think there are a Zuka for this crab tank, there are still a decent number of other counters for it. Suction Bomb, notably, the strikes, as we mentioned before, and the Splatoon Stamper has a quite high object damage ratio for its primary weapon alone. So we saw once or twice they are able to take out the crab tank and immediately start moving forward. So there are avenues where Snooze can counter that crab tank, counter some of the range that's been coming out, and they're looking to do that and make those adjustments as now it comes up with a double, immediately gets taken down for it, but it's going to be the lead here even for Snooze. Will they find the knockout here? Paint coming forward on top of the zone. Both teams trying everything in their power, but no, they won't find the knockout. Frutella will find the cap.
What a great game we have right now. It's still kind of a question because we got a minute 40 left to go. It's basically just comes down to penalty points at this point. And winning, man, what a great scrap that was in mid. You saw some players doing some flanks, but they were expertly shut down. And when the dust settles, Snooze is back in control of this thing. They've already had one push go the distance, and they don't have to do that same exact one to get lead. Right here between specials, built up Killer Whale and each strike coming out at the same exact time, as well as Zipcasters. So they're throwing everything at the offensive here, trying to prevent Punchy Fan Club from getting back into control of the zone. Two players going down from the Zipcast before they get eliminated right here. And Kraken should clean this one back up. So with a minute left to go, the team that is currently losing has control of the zone.
Another 3-for-2 trade in a massive team fight that continues to balance on a knife's edge. This time slightly swinging back over to Frutella's there once again on the disadvantaged side of Grand Finals. We'll need both this set win and the next in order to take the tournament. Even still, though, strikes coming out from the top of the zone. More strikes continue here for Frutella. Another couple get taken down and toe the bucket. Well done. Able to come up with two, and now it's all Frutella here. 3-down situation as they charge forward. And it looks like they're going to set up shop right up here. Again, has another opportunity to get back. No, couldn't quite find the jump away that time. And a quick punish from Snooze. Now, will they be able to cap the zone here? Will overtime be forced? Actually, might not even come down to it. But now the strikes come out. They cap the zone. That might be game. Casanova tries to get the paint down, but no. The Sprinkler is able to hold on for just long enough. And it's a game either direction here in Grand.
It was all for naught, but it was still a pretty impressive play by the Slosher player to use those ink strikes. You talked about before using the strikes to activate the rest of your teammates. They kind of used it as like a ninja throwing down a smoke screen for themselves, and just when the dust settled, oh, here I am. You guys weren't expecting me. I'm just going to splat both of you and start pushing up right here. But still, good job by Snooze of getting rid of the slosher right there and then collapsing on top of the zone. The benefit of having such a huge lead is that you don't have to panic and rush these things. You can just take out a couple of players, and when you have more painting weapons than the enemy team, you can just close out the game.
And again, as the game goes on for longer, you find the ways to adjust to whatever was coming out from the other team, right? The grab tank obviously is going to take some adjustment. It's not a weapon that currently gets played a lot in competitive Splatoon, but it can still be a potent weapon if you're not paying attention and not carefully considering what can actually take it out and apply pressure to that grab tank, especially again in meta right now where you're not seeing all of the chargers all of the time. Typically a grab tank, if it comes out, might be the longest range thing, especially in a tournament so far where we haven't seen a lot of Zukas either. So adapting around that is going to be critical as we keep going. It seems like Snooze is starting to adjust to where that is coming from. We'll see whether or not they make any other adjustments. Doesn't look like that's the case, and compositions will remain the same as we head into game 3.
There's Stoppa coming back out with that blaster we were talking about earlier. Finally, the conversation we have is going to pay off right here. The question is, though, who's going to get the most strikes and who's going to throw them on the zone more? I think the splash is going to outtank the slosher, but still, the slosher really works out well in this pumpy map of pump that pump track. You taking advantage of the arc of the shots. And yeah, I see a blaster. Let's just dogpile on it and trade.
And to that end, the one thing that you might need to be careful of here is the independence of those weapons, right? The slosher is a little bit more independent, perhaps, in its ability to paint its own feet and try to find ways to get away. Meanwhile, that custom range blaster, not so much unless it's got that Kraken at the ready, right? So whether or not those two will actually link up and try to take fights together as teams, especially around some of those angles poking at the opponent's side of the map, we'll have to see, but you have to imagine something like this Stamper will also be just as successful as now Punchy. Flanking Crab Tank comes out of this far side, catches some members by surprise, and the Kraken will try to escort the rest of the members of Frutella into the zone, and they'll find the cap, at least for a moment, applying a penalty before Punchy actually gets taken down, attempting to retreat.
Hey, we have control of the zone. I can push up. We can start advancing. Oh, wait, they're throwing literally everything they've ever created in their lives into the zone. All of a sudden, I'm drowning in enemy ink. I guess we didn't have the space that we thought we had. And now Snooze starting to capitalize on the rest of it. Zone in control of Punchy, but here comes the ink strikes yet again. The two players going down. So that's going to keep the zone in control of Punchy Fan Club. They're probably going to get control of the lead here as well with some ink strikes they can use to hold on to things for a little bit longer. The question is, how do you create the lockout right here? Like, you got to start finding ways to get past this pencil, which obviously they cannot do. Two players going down, they have to retreat. It's so difficult for either team to create a legit lockout in this map.
And at the end of the day, it's because they don't have a lot of range, and there's a lot of open avenues, right, where if you're holding one spot or one side of the map, it's very easy to adjust to the other side of the map and find some kind of opening, as you're seeing these teams do, especially Punchy able to set up a crab tank on the far right side, as we saw earlier. But now you're seeing collapsing on top of the zone, coming from multiple sides. The Snooze is trying to step forward, but now gets taken down and still can't quite find that cap. Cast here at the ready, but probably not going to get used right away until the rest of the team can come in, and actually might be looking for a flank angle now. There's the blaster poking away, but it's going to cause enough distraction for a teammate to come up and find that pick. And here comes the Zipcaster applying pressure towards that pencil. The cooler is chucked, but it's not going down below on this plat, and so that's going to be all the space here for Snooze as they control the zone, and they find a pretty solid hold here. We'll see how long they can keep it up.
That's back-to-back splats they were able to get on the pencil. The first one didn't matter because they had moved, but the second one was splatted as they were throwing it out. That is a lot of painting power that is removed. Yeah, they got the soda out, but nicely done from that Zipcaster to get behind the defense and take care of the players that can do the real damage, which is the pencils on this map in particular. 1:20 left to go. Punchy Fan Club back into control of the zone, trying to get rid of the penalty points with this crab from Punchy finally pushed up and finally starting to harass the enemy team in their own base.
Firefight there down in the pit. I actually think it was pretty even, but it favored the side of Frutella just a little bit because it kept the fight away from the zone and kept them forward, enabling someone like Punchy to come in with that grab tank in a different spot. Now they're able to take the lead and they're approaching knockout territory. Snooze realizes it has to throw everything towards the zone that they've got. Here come the strikes. They find the cap and apply the penalty with just a little bit of time left. 2 down now, though, for Frutella. Make it a delayed third in addition. And so Snooze has a lot of map that has just opened up.
What a tug of war this entire set has been up to this point. Both teams seeming like, oh, they finally done enough to get the KO, but then just when you think it, somebody else comes in, they get the right specials onto the zone, they get the right picks at the necessary time. still in doubt here, and even though the Frutella team does have control of the zone, they beat up the splash. But the same thing we said before, in the splash, actually no, it's going to be the slosher on the side of Frutella that can just kind of throw the strikes out there. But the Neo Splash, which is down, isn't going to have anything to counter with it as well. The Kraken going across the zone, so they're throwing a whole lot. That should do it. There's just not enough left for Snooze to take care of things. It's kind of like the old thought of Clan Blitz. The last team to score is going to be the team that wins. Well, when you have the lead as the clock is ticking down, it just seems like it's too much to cap the zone back into your favor and then hold on to it long enough when all you need to do is just throw the right kind of specials and attack it with the right kind of coordination, which is exactly what Frutella did. 2-1, staring down a bracket reset.
All about setting yourself up for those final moments, really, as you mentioned, right, with either the last Flamin or having the zone at the very end, being able to find that cap. In effect, that's what Splatoon basically is, right? You spend 4 minutes setting yourself up for success in the last minute, and then you try to play it out with whatever you've got at your disposal there. And if it turns out that you've got a pretty sizable lead, then all you need to do is throw a cap down, and a lot easier to than anything else. And so, you know, even similar pop gun to Turf War, might I say. Ooh, shudders. Where you're just trying to set yourself up.
I was going to say something about Turf War, and then I was like, no, I want to go off that tangent. But
you think you've caused enough, you've said enough of your takes for the day?
I've said a lot of it. Well, yeah, I got to save some. And also, like, it's not a new take. Like, I've just reached the point where I got a new audience, so I can just say the same thing, and they're like, "Oh,
is it a new audience? Is it?"
Yeah. Everyone watching this stream of Proving Grounds has never watched competitive Splatoon in their lives. They have no idea what this is.
Yeah, you're right. Clearly,
we got a lot of first timers in chat. We got a lot of we did have like we did have a legit brand new team play in this tournament. They were even kind of like, hey, how do I like they didn't know how to go through this and out. So like I kind of like walked them through it, and I was also like, oh, bless your heart, you picked the wrong tournament to be like your first experience of this thing. This was even in the lower side of the bracket, there were still some pretty solid teams across the way here. It's just the teams that usually win every single tournament we have that isn't a major is just so happens to be the two teams in grand finals here. We're back at Undertow.
Back at Undertow. Going to be an interesting one here. And again, okay. Different iteration here as the NZAP comes out of Snooze with a custom pencil rather than opting for the regular pencil, but still have a cooler and still looking to try to apply some kind of pressure, although this crab tank right now putting in a decent bit of work and a lot of members getting taken down attempting to get up to that crab tank. It looks like Frutella is going to be able to find their first hold of this game, although Kraken doesn't quite get off, and Snooze looking to collapse right back on top.
Going back to the red pencil as well, just being able to throw down rain and attack both zones roughly at the same time is just such a beneficial special, especially the slow way it moves. It's a great way to kind of work in with the rest of your teammates. But instead of going sodaless, they did, like, look, I know you don't like using NZAP, but we need soda, so you're going to have to use NZAP. Like, all right, fine, well, I'll do it. I'll do what it takes to help get this win, because we don't want to get a bracket reset against a team like this. He's going to have a lot of momentum and a lot of hype going into it. Did that player just jump in from a tree, just right into the middle of the map? It looks like they did, and is now going to punish some players for not getting the splat on them earlier.
Now finds a second, doesn't get the zip cast off in time. Punchy will be able to collapse on it, but now the rest of the team knows exactly where Punchy is, and that's a 3-down situation for Frutella. So expect to see the lead flip back for Snooze, but the question is, will they be able to extend it by very much? Of course, they don't have a lot of space to their name right now, or at least a lot of specials. And now 52 Gal comes out with his Kraken Whale. Kraken comes forward here as well, but there is the strikes on top of the zone, trying to neutralize them and flip this one right on back around. But still, Frutella goes 2 down. Now their blaster is the third one eliminated, and Snooze is going to keep holding on.
another great opportunity here for this Zipcaster. It turns out, though, when you get the splatter on the first player, the rest of the teammates in the BC are like, hey, here comes the Zipcaster, and everybody can just turn and eliminate it right there. But again, it's the key to fight away from the zone mentality because it's so hard to put points down on this point. Snooze might have the winning lead that they need, even though we're crossing the halfway mark right here, just because it's so hard for anybody to take care of business. You have to keep everyone away from both zones, which you have a lot of specials going. Your penalty points are gone. You got Crab, you got Kraken. You could literally have like Godzilla and King Kong going off at the same time with the specials you have here. But can they keep them away from one of those zones that could just stall out instantly? It looks like the answer so far is yes. That soda's coming out a little late. Only 2 people are going to get it.
2 people are going to get it. One gets taken down almost immediately, and suddenly Fruitella sets themselves up pretty well here. Once again, keeping the fight away. You talk about it. Now poking with the blaster. Slosher was contributing as well. They have to be careful of this far right side. Kiki taken down right now, and now 5 ticks left to go, and then we'll be able to find the lead. The lead won't hold. Will they be able to find the knockout here, though? It looks like one member goes down, and Pink Ink is going to start to come on top of the zone. Here comes the Ink Storm as well to try to get just a little bit extra to find the cap on both, and they will find it, apply that penalty, and keep this one at a deadlock.
Fruitella picked the best time to start winning every single one of their fights. I don't think any one of their players lost the fight, or at least it wasn't a trade or they had soda in them. Snooze didn't have a good soda rhythm, like they were getting splattered without any kind of, without the soda that they could work with, so those just getting really punished on top of that. So nicely done by Fruitella to start picking up the, to lock in, as they say. But now look at this. All their penalty points are roughly gone right now. It's Snooze that's in control of things. The Zipcaster able to take care of the blaster. And it's going to be difficult to cap both zones. You're going to have to get some splats right there. There's one. There's 2 from the Slosher who's stepping up. Getting those 2 splats might have just forced the bracket reset.
Now just a couple more seconds to hold on. They've got about 30 now to just hold on to these zones, prevent Snooze from capping both, and they'll send us to that extra set. 20 seconds now left. Here comes the Ink Storm. Couple of bombs thrown towards the near zone. There's the deluge that they were expecting, and one member is taken out by it. Punchy pops the crab tank. Now looking for the Snipe Rider, but no, both zones are capped. And maybe an opportunity here for Snooze, but one player has to jump away. It's still 2 down, though, for Fruitella, and it is going to force overtime. Snooze now starting to lurk forward. Have to be careful, this 52 gal. Sharking, waiting for the time to strike. Now will pop out, find one, looking for a second, gets Punchy before getting taken down. Here comes the other member spawning back in, and we're starting to see Fruitella try to move forward, but one member gets zoned away by the scamper of Ricky. 2 down situation now, jumps coming in on top of the zone. 3 down now for Snooze, and it is going to be Fruitella capping the zones at the very end. They are going to send us to a bracket reset. How tight was that one, Pop Gun?
That was entertaining. That was splat zones at Undertow. I don't know why we don't play that in every single tournament, to be quite honest with you. That was fun to watch. I mean, it just came down to so many fights going on at the right time. It seems like Snooze was just making the right plays, but it just seemed like, as I'm kind of watching the replay back here, how did some of those other players get die? Because like they got that nice double right there, but they ultimately lost the gal. It looks like the pencil got eliminated somewhere along the lines as well, and that just caused this awkward kind of staggering of everybody just jumping into mid and a bar fight breaking out, and just the dust settles. Again, the game goes to the team who had the lead going into overtime, because it's a lot easier to just cap it back than to hold it.
Oh, Pop Gun, because we're getting to a bracket reset, we get to see your favorite map again.
What?
Hammerhead Bridge.
That's the game? That's game
That
one?
is game 1.
Okay. Look, I don't have... I don't... It's not my favorite map. It's Ellie's
Your
favorite.
favorite is Tower Control Link Blood Arctica.
Yes, which unfortunately is not available in a Splat Zone tournament for some reason. I don't know why that's the case. But you know, we've limited the map pool so much in other tournaments to where, like, I can't make the joke about Tower Control Art Academy being picked so often now, because it's like, okay, well, you only have like 7 other options to
Yeah,
go to
right.
anyways. And Rainmaker's vanishing
You
off
only
the
have
face of the earth as well, which is so
2
beautiful.
other tower control maps, yeah.
And we're hopping right into this one. Both teams got a date tonight, and that is cool. So we'll get this one going. Bracket reset to the person in chat who said Snooze wins trust. Well, that still is a possibility. They can still win this one. They're just going to have to win 3 here against a Frutella team that is on a mission.
On a mission, they are Zuka spotted. Kiki comes up with it here, and we'll see whether or not that plays much of a role. We did see Punchy still sticking with that craft tank, and of course on this map in particular, where things are incredibly long and there are very few choke points to hold, that range comes into play, and that straightforward shooting comes into play here as well. We'll see how effective that crab thing can be, but it won't be as effective when Punchy gets taken down. Now charging forward again, Kiki almost going up with a third. But that final Sniper player is going to jump one away, and Snooze is going to find their first goal.
Yes. I'm just trying to think. Because, like, how do you commentate this map? It's just so narrow. It's just, there's only so much you can do. You can dunk around the sides. But, yeah, it's just so good Zuka-wise, as you kind of mentioned right there, that there's just so many different spots that you can't really go because you're just kind of like wide open by the time that you get to it. That's allowing Snooze to create this sort of easy lockout situation that they have going on right here. If I am Punchy Fan Club, how am I going to find a way to break out of this? Well, first one's going to have to be that crab, and the second one's going to have to be this Kraken on the zone, trying to chase or less of those players away from it so I can try to find a way to paint over it. But the Kraken is not going to come out, and the crab is not going to be successful, so that should be all the cards that Frutella has to play at this point. That will cost them game 1.
Game 1 down. Easy for Snooze. Had a slight composition adjustment that actually worked out to their favor. I will say, overall, I think the custom range blaster doesn't play a big role there. You think, oh, well, it has a decent bit of range, so you would think that you were able to poke around a couple of things. But I think it looks to me like some of these angles here are a little too tall, especially while you're trying to shoot downward. And it's difficult to try to find some kind of angle to find that extra burst damage, find that extra chip damage. And even then, your teammates can't follow up on it because they're standing on the front lines with you, and they're not able to go in because they're zoned away by the rest of the members of that opposing team. So it felt like there weren't a lot of tools at the disposal for Frutella to get right back in. Of course, we saw, we were talking a lot about the crab tank, but it was countered even more than it was otherwise. Oh, dear goodness, Popkin, never mind. We don't even get a chance to talk about that when the teams want to go. You weren't kidding.
I am all for this. We got other things to do, and I'm all for competitive tournaments. But these things last so long, so let's get into these lobbies. Let's get our weapons. It's not a surprise. We're all playing the same mode. We're all going to use pencil. We know it. Let's go fighting. Nobody's doing the flank this time around. So we're just going to play museum, and we're just going to go at it.
And go at it they will, although teams may be a little bit afraid to start approaching first. Coolers going down either side. Still, it looks like maybe Frutella starts to be the first one to move forward, but the point-blank Zuka comes out, takes down 2 members there of Frutella, and suddenly Snooze might have the slight advantage, although they've got to play this one a little bit more carefully. They take down the last 2, and that's actually huge, because that is a beautiful stagger of the members of Frutella, and this could be a pretty big push.
Able to get control of zone in the mid, and now you just kind of got to start thinking, how can we funnel them away? Like, we do have to keep an eye on the flank on the left side, but it looks like most of the players are just kind of coming around through that mid area, and you see Bolt and this Stamper trying to find a way to get up there so that they can start harassing the rest of their teammates. But it just seems like Frutella's just kind of bottlenecked down here. Finally, the Blaster is able to find a way along this right side, and We'll see how many players from Snooze respond to it. It seems like a couple come away from the zone to do that.
Oh.
And Punchy trying to follow it up, but now Punchy's just left there by themselves. The crab tank being sliced in half. A little bit of discombobulation. Kiki with a controller malfunction down there. It looks like they seem to have come to a set with that as well. Snooze trying to, yeah, we got bracket reset, but we're the better team, and we're going to show it here.
To your point, feels like Frutella a little bit on off the same page, trying to go for a couple more desperation plays because nothing else feels like it's working, especially when a player like Kiki comes up multiple times, pops out this with a random Zuka here or there. It's just that much more difficult to actually get anything going. And the largest thing for desperation here is Punchy dropping in on that flank, trying to pop this crab tank, but there's enemy ink all around you, and it makes it for a very easy time for that Stamper to come right up and take you out. Snooze 2-0 up. We'll go over to Maki, where they were the ones that elected not to run Cooler earlier on this map, correct?
That is correct. Snooze did. And barely lost that one in particular. I'm starting to think just how these last two games have gone, if maybe fatigue is starting to set in for Frutella. Yeah. Now, they're very experienced with tournaments, as we talked about. Like, and that's the more tournaments to play, the more tournaments you play deep into grand finals, the more used you are to playing at a certain level. But they've been in losers bracket for a good chunk of time. They have to force this bracket reset versus Snooze, who's been able to get a little bit of rest in between things here. But yeah, when you have one player jumping into another one who's jumping out, that's usually a sign of miscommunication, and miscommunication is usually a sign of fatigue from a team that's been playing as well as they have been up to this point. Harshy going back to the soda. Kiki's going to be sticking with that the Zuka, which I don't think they used Zuka on this map last time. I could be wrong about that, but still, they do get an opening cap. They don't win the opening fight.
At least as of yet, although have to imagine these specials going to start coming out at any moment. Looks like Frutella tries to move up on the right side, but they actually get punished for that. 2 down, actually now on both sides of the map as the pencils stay alive and try to fire at one another. Cooler is out, and kind of with that zone covered in green, allow the rest of Frutella to keep moving forward, pushing back these members of Snooze, and all the meanwhile, that timer is ticking down. Where Snooze will opt to make a play next might be interesting here, as now already down to 50. Here's the point playing Zuka again, but Kiki gets taken down this time. Not afraid was this blaster, and comes right back in with the Kraken, tries to take care of a couple of these other members that drop down behind them, and now has to hide for a second, gets that Cooler. Even still, Snooze struggling to find a way into this zone and hold on to it for a while.
You kind of talked about the difficulty of blaster angles on Hammerhead. Well, they definitely know what the angles are on a map like this. I'm sure they played it a whole heck of a lot more, and they're able to get into some good positions right there and help extend the lockout. But we've seen Snooze come back in situations like this before on this map. They don't have a lot of penalty points to go through. They're just really struggling to get any kind of control of mid. And that kind of comes with the benefit of being the team that's in control of the zone when the map actually shows up and you can actually play the game on this map, which so far, Punchy Fan Club Frutella has not surrendered the control of mid, even though they've lost zone.
Stoppa's been holding strong on that left side. Now it even goes back over there yet again to continue poking with this CRB, forces at least one trade, and Snooze still has the disadvantage coming into this, but they are running out of time to try to come away with this game, as now the wall comes down yet again. He comes up with one, gonna be looking for a second in just a moment, but the Sniper Rider's just out of range. Here comes the rest of the team, and now finally a 3-down situation. Snooze finds the last one, and will be looking to set themselves up here to try to find a more firm hold.
This is their first real legit push. The question is, what is Frutella going to do to respond to it? They got Crab, they got the Ink Strikes ready to go. Are they going to try to just like auto-cap the zone back into things? Or are they going to, before they go overboard, nah, you die by my hands, says Rocky on the Zipcaster right there. His points are starting to dwindle into Snooze's favor and possibly the tournament as well. Kraken and Ink Strikes online from Frutella, ready to go. If it's combined onto the zone, might do enough to flip it back into their favor and hold on to this lead. Here comes the Killer Whale out in response. There goes Harshy, so their pencil is gone, and they do cap the zone. So nice patience right there. You got a lot of time to work with. Let's wait, build up specials, go in together, and we'll get this one, we'll at least save face for now.
Stoppa holds on just long enough on that right side, allows some of the teammates to come in, help save that play while they were attempting to get that blaster that they thought was just a sitting duck, but in fact was bait all along. And it's going to allow Frutella to continue holding this zone and keep maintaining their lead. They could even potentially go for a knockout here. Snooze has got to play their cards correctly, but already one goes down as Punchy is able to come up with one. It looks like they're going to keep holding on for now. Snooze, 3-down situation. They're in trouble in this game, and it looks like it's going to go to the favor of Frutella. Bolts comes up on the right side. One more opportunity perhaps, but not there in time with Kiki to paint the zone, and we're headed to a game 4.
You know, when you are, as I questioned, is fatigue starting to set in, the best medicine for something like that is to just win. And honestly, I don't know why teams don't just win more. Honestly,
yes.
It's clearly the optimal strategy for going through a tournament. Ultimately working out right there, giving them a little bit of rejuvenation. Also, having control and having a lead does a lot for you mentally when you're down 2-0 in a grand final bracket reset like this. It's like, okay, we got control. We're settling back in. It took us a while to settle into this set, but now that we got things back into our favor, now we can lock in and try to force a game 5, an epic potential game 5. But right now they got to deal with what is next. Robo Ramen, hey, that's new. It's different.
It is new. Something a little bit new and different for these teams. We'll see what their strategy is here across the board. And I'm wondering, because both these maps so far have seemed pretty one-sided, right? Snooze was able to take the first 2 pretty convincingly. Now Frutella takes game 3 pretty convincingly. So I'm wondering if it's just a matter of comfort on each individual map, and not only comfort, but also just knowing how the composition plays a little bit better. As I mentioned, maybe the blaster not as confident on Hammerhead, especially when you're trying to shoot downwards. Meanwhile, on Mahi, when in a lot of cases you're in a winning position and you're able to shoot upwards and have a larger presence on the map because the map is so much smaller, suddenly you're in maybe a better position overall. But anyway, on this one, we got kind of that combination of both, right? You get to maybe approach from the bottom in some cases, but in no small part, you get this long diagonal in the middle where you'll see the tug of war mostly take place. We'll see where this one can go, because I think it has the potential to go both ways, but it might be a matter of, again, whether or not Punching can get this crab tank set up, or whether or not the crab tank can get countered, because that can be quite a presence, I imagine, here.
Potential still tournament ending point in the favor of Snooze, and they do have the little sleepy, I just noticed the little sleepy tags in their name. This could be a legit team. You don't put that much effort in if you're just a pickup or a project. This is a team. Make a Twitter for your team, make a public Discord, and you're good to go. Let's see. Ink Strikes coming out from both sides. You still got the crab from Punchy. Of course, you're going to have pencils. They're so good on this map. The Zipcasters really have been kind of the key here. Whoa, excuse me. What happened there? We had 2 players just evaporate. Did they get hit by the Ink Strikes? Is that what got them?
Either way, they get taken down almost instantly, and that's going to be an advantage here. Still have to come on back through, and here comes Snooze trying to reclaim some lost ground, and it looks like they'll be successful in doing so. 3 down the other way as everyone gets taken away. Of course, Bolts gets taken down as well. Even still, Snooze able to come on back, and here comes the retake attempt as the crab tank and the strikes are both popped right on top of this zone, and it'll go right on back over to Orange.
Some great Zipcasts are being used so far in this set. specifically from the side of Snooze whenever they have them ready, just doing a good job of, again, creating the distractions, but also just straight up getting splats with them as well. And right now, Snooze with control of the lead and the penalty points already gone. But then, again, it's the double punch, the crab and the kraken, the double monsters just being kind of thrown onto things. Seem to be working out so well in tandem. And the pencil doing a great job of staying alive on that one. That's kind of the key with this map in particular. Try to find a way to get to the enemy pencil because they're kind of tucked away in this little bunker area. Harshy doing a good job. They threw a lot at him right then and right there, but so far hasn't been splatted until we just zoomed in on the player who got the splat on him. So what do I know?
Well, you know, sometimes we can only know so much, Popgun, and that's okay. The great part is you get to admit when you're wrong sometimes, and hey,
Sometimes.
there it goes. Sometimes. Not all the time, just sometimes. Beautiful blaster right there. Another 2-down situation for Snooze. Ink Strikes coming back out on top of the zone this time, though. Well, it'll be enough for Snooze to disengage, but it won't be a lot of paint on the ground in of itself. Soda thrown down, and they might start to push in off of this, but they have to be careful. The Slosher lurking down on the bottom right side, trying to get up there on that left side, and that Slosher is what takes down one player, and so Frutella holds on here even still as we're just past the halfway point to this game. They have the lead, and they have the specials to keep extending it.
And they got the crab just baiting, like, hey, come fight me. I'm in a defenseless little splash. Oh, wait, no, I got a crab right here. I'm going to rain down all kind of nonsense to force you to swim through all of this and not get the splat. I thought the gal was going to find a way to make a heck of a play on Punchy right there, but trying to bait them, lure them into the trap of the tank. And again, all of that taking place away from the zone. 10 ticks away from the KO. One more player getting splatted as the Slosher's just trying to stay alive. Gets a nice splat on Bolts, and then comes back to stay alive from the safety of the wall, but then comes the pencil to start poking them around right there, and that buys enough time for the Ink Strikes to come right back out. Man, they still don't get the KO, and with two more players going down, Snooze is in a pretty decent position to get set up for the lockout.
In a decent position, but they've got a ways to go as they've almost through their penalty. Whopping 50 is where they stand right now, and they'll hold on to it for at least the second, but here come the strikes out. Killer Whale as well on the opposite side. Kraken starts to lunge forward. Will it come up with anything? As some of the members are jumping over top of the zone, and actually Snooze finds the recap despite stop as Kraken going straight through. Looks like Still's caught in an unfortunate position. Be forced back on away, and still though, holding on. Here come the bombs though, as the onslaught of Oranging for Frutella, but Snooze holds for now, and specials start to get charged up. Here comes that Crab Tank on the top side, gets immediately targeted by those strikes, and now strikes down towards the zone even still. Punchy's Crab runs out, won't be able to escort the team in, and suddenly Frutella might not have the opportunity to get in, but no, Stoppas Kraken larges through the zone, able to find one, not able to find a second, as one goes down. That's the bucket. 2 down now for Frutella, make it 3, and Snooze does have a penalty applied, so they'll need to hold on to this for even longer. Looks like mission accomplished for Frutella for just a second, but now they've got to come right back to it.
And with the specials they have online, actually they're using Ink Strikes right now just to make sure they don't even get into position to paint the zone. And now we'll push things back right there. Snooze trying to end this one, but here finally comes out the Ink Strikes from the side of Frutella, but this blaster's kind of stuck in the enemy ink. There's nowhere for them to go. 4 players alive still for Snooze, and it seems like it's all falling apart right now. Unless this crab can pull out a miracle, which they cannot, Snooze wakes up and forces this tournament to end before it goes to a Game 5.
Picking up their second Proving Grounds victory, according to their Sendo.Inc team page. I did a little research at the very end of that, and they actually have a decent number of accolades in terms of tournaments they've won together, although Team Twitter, I think, was made last night. So you can follow the team on Twitter at snooze_SPL. Congratulations to them for winning Proving Grounds 36. Hey, hats off to Frutella for coming out even with a questionable team name and fighting through the losers bracket to make it right back up here to second place.
You know, Proving Grounds has a deep tradition and history with providing new teams their first opportunity to make a name for themselves. Moonlight's first tournament where they got a win as a team over a year ago was Proving Grounds. Could Snooze become the next Moonlight? Well, we'll find out whenever somebody decides to throw $400 out of their own wallet to make a major. It's not going to be me. Regardless, though, Snooze ends up winning there.